Welcome back to the Navigating the Healing Path podcast. So delighted this week to be back discussing one of my all-time favorite coping mechanisms or tools. Tools is a tool, definitely a tool. Journaling. Oh my God, this was my first. This was introduced to me at the age of 16, I believe. I've been writing and journaling and beginning to hone my voice or look at the things that I was feeling. So, journaling. Yes, I'm so excited.
The excitement is palpable.
I know.
I'm so excited to get into this chat with you.
Excellent. Okay. All right. But so I can be at least a little bit grounded in all of this excitement and be present here, let's connect and breathe before we jump into this. So I'm going to go ahead and ground my energy. And I'm inviting all of you to receive a nice deep breath with us. Connecting to your body, dropping into your heart, opening yourself to receive what I'm going to assume is going to be a delightful conversation. And breathing again. I'm just calming down the nervous system. Okay, I feel more grounded. That's better.
Agreed. It's always fantastic. I love just taking just that split second or several seconds to ground and to get in tune with the internal world that's happening so we can bring just a dash more presence and a dash more love into our conversations.
Indeed. Because the excitement is still there, right? But it's grounded. It's anchored into the world, into the earth, so that there's a less likely chance to dissociate and be like, whoa, let's fly off to the galaxy and go explore. Like it's like, okay, we're going to focus and we're going to look at this.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Focused and intentional.
Yes. Yes. It's a good practice. It works well for us. For sure.
It does. So, all right. Would you like to kick off whatever conversation is manifesting for us in this moment?
So I feel like journaling isn't new. Like this is something that everybody has heard, has been suggested to use as a tool. And I've heard a lot of like, oh man, I should really do that. I should really do that. I hear what you're saying, that could be really beneficial, but there's oftentimes a resistance. And what I've observed also is that there's a resistance to things that will help you feel better or to begin to explore. But when you're not used to having your feelings or space for your feelings or speaking your truth, even if it's just to yourself, it's really hard. So to me, approaching it with an openness of I'm not here to try to be perfect, because this is also some of the feedback I've got. Some people were even afraid to curse in their journal. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you know how many fucks I have in my fucking journal? Like, I speak. I am unadulterated. Like, if it's anger, I let that anger out so that it doesn't live inside of me, so it doesn't fester, so it doesn't keep running on that hamster wheel inside my head.
Right.
It has a venue out. It has an avenue out of me and onto the page. And there's so much, I don't even know even where to start, but that's basically where I'm headed. Does this make sense?
Talking about the initial resistances to journaling and using it as a tool of self-expression and
self-exploration,
like
getting to know and yourself awareness. And a place to safely speak your truth.
Yeah.
Like nobody is going to read this. And I know that there's a lot of fear, especially if you live with other people or you're in some relationships that aren't the best for you and you're trying to navigate having that safe space, there are, what do they call them? Not defenses, but ways of protecting that particular space. Whether as a kid and as a teenager, you hide it under your bed and there's a little lock on it, because these are your private thoughts. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be a safeguard. You can safeguard this journal for you.
Totally.
And it's always a red flag if somebody doesn't want you journaling or they want to read your private thoughts. That is a boundary violation. We deserve a safe space to process our emotions that are only for us. Because I think a lot of what we write is not necessarily fit for other human consumption. It is not for others, because a lot of it is actually the lie, right? These thoughts that come in of anger, of wanting to hurt others because they hurt you. And, there needs to be an outlet for that pent up resentment or anger or rage or sadness. And that is the safest place for me, is on the page. Growing up, once I started using journaling, and it was introduced to me by my friend at the time, who I still have, she's one of my besties, but she was the one who encouraged me to write down my feelings. And it was the first time anybody had done so. I'm like, I should write things down? She goes, yeah, and then you could read it to me. I'm like, what? Because she used to read to me from her journal, because this was part of her process. So like, I'm going to feel it, I'm going to write it, and then I'm going to share it with somebody. So this is not for everybody. So I'm not suggesting that anybody do this necessarily, but this was just my personal experience. But it was such a revolutionary idea that, one, I had a place to safely express these feelings that were not desired by anybody else in my environment to hear, but that I can actually be honest and I can look at stuff, and then I go to somebody who's open and receptive and is interested in asking to hear what my thoughts and my feelings and what my story is. And then I got to speak it. So there's one thing where you're writing it down, it's free association, there's no structure, there's no grammar police in there. It is just
no rules or regulations.
Yeah, I love that. And then you read it to somebody else, and that empowers you. And I love how Karen, one of our mentors and friends, has communicated with us that the first step is just getting it out, and then there's this other process that once you feel safe, you can then speak it. And then that process is it through your throat chakra, through the expression center, and that is even more empowering, and it's another ability or opportunity for us to get it out.
Yeah. It's like the extra credit for releasing these aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, not extra credit, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I do. Yeah. So I just find it to be one of the most amazing tools. And for a long time, for me, journaling was the place where I got to understand how I was feeling, because I didn't actually know. I would have these emotions or these feelings or anger or whatever it was, but I didn't know why or what to do with it. So a lot of it became asking myself questions like, why do I feel this way? Where is this coming from? And just learning to listen. And then I'll pause, right? Because sometimes you ask the question and then you pause and you wait for the answer. And then eventually there is this quiet voice that will begin to talk to you back. The more space you hold for it, the quieter you can become. And then you write down the answer that you hear, right? And it's just a great place to out your mind, to look at your programs. Oh, it's such a good tool.
It is. Yeah. And there really are so many different methods of journaling and different ways that you can use it for pretty much every aspect of your entire being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can be that space to just let anything and everything that you're feeling out as that initial processing. Or like you just mentioned, asking a question down on the page and then waiting for an answer to come through and writing that down. There's what am I thinking of? Help me explain more types of journaling and
Oh,
methods
okay. So
for it.
yes, because there are prompts. There's lots of journals out there that actually can help guide you, just like guided meditations. There's journaling like guidance.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's a ton of
There's
prompts out
other
there.
people, if you don't even know what to write about and you're afraid to start, there are lots of resources that can help you get started.
Mm-hmm.
And that just is a Google search away.
Right.
So there's that kind of journaling. There's I even have a special bedside journal for those thoughts that won't go away as I'm trying to sleep. Right? You can have a dream journal or like a nighttime thoughts journal so that you can be like, oh God, this happened. Okay, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Okay. And then you just sort of get it out so that then you can go into sleep.
True. Yeah.
So I have journals all over the place. Some people want to have all in one place. That's great. But different journals for me have different purposes. I have a work journal, a growing my business journal, a morning pages journal where this is the morning pages that we learn from the artist way. I have a journal that I write in if the morning pages weren't enough. I have just a regular, all right, here's my shit. I have an angry letters journal that if I'm having feelings that it's not quite safe to go to that person or it's not appropriate because this is my shit, right? I will take my shit and I will write a letter to this individual or even myself, maybe, whatever it is. But that's where I process those things.
Oh yeah, letter writing journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And because these are letters that you would never send.
Right.
Because they come from the hurt part of you, the unhealed aspect of you, that's not necessarily fair to put the responsibility of your emotions onto somebody else. Mm-hmm. You know, they might have provoked it or brought something up, but how you process and manage it is on the individual, is on you.
Yeah.
So there are so many journals out there. Oh my God, one of my favorites, art journaling. Oh my gosh, I was so into like watching a lot of people process their life. It's like art scrapbooking, but with your own thoughts and feelings.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, it's so cool. There's a lot of mixed media that uses this, from printmaking to also just mixed media. And then you write your words or your feelings because you use the imagery that you create. Like if you're in this feeling and then you paint it or you express it through textures and colors, and then you paste on there your thoughts or your words or your observations or insights into it, and you create this an art journal. So that was really cool. There's all sorts of kinds of journaling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely resonate with like having those different journals for different moods and occasions. Thinking through some of mine, I also have that dedicated morning pages notebook because those can fill up real quick. Yes. You need to have your own dedicated notebook for that for sure. And I also have like a stream of consciousness online document that's like probably at like 140 something pages at this point, where I can just go on there and I can just write stream of consciousness, whatever the fuck is going on in my head. I'm just like, meh, I'm just going to write this down. But usually that actually ends up turning into a form of self-reflection and asking questions and receiving guidance after I've gotten a lot of stuff out. I've also had like a shadow work or just like a more like negative, heavy feeling emotion journal, which that's actually really interesting to pick up now. Because something that I don't know if other people will resonate with this, but the intention that you hold for a journal, and like once you've written, probably even as early as a quarter of it, but for me, I've noticed the more full a notebook gets with a specific type of journaling, that energy is like imbued into it. And now I'm like, it's kind of hard for me to like pick up the heavy negative feeling notebook because I can feel like the energetic weight in it, which is really fascinating. But then I've also had like a connecting with spirit journal where I go in and I'm like, okay, hello, this is what I'm struggling with. I would love to receive guidance and messages right now from my team, from my higher self, whoever wants to come through and flow through my hand and through my pen. And when I pick that one up, I can feel like the lightness and the love from it. this is a total side tangent, but I find it so fascinating that when you have these different journals for different things, like the energy really does get imbued into it with whatever intention that you set. But yeah, I love having journals for different things and just having them at our disposal, especially at night, like just to be able to go through the day. Because sometimes the mind just wants space to be like, I just want to say things. Like it wants a microphone
Yes.
to it. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, when we're falling asleep, at least for me, it does like to get a little louder.
Like, oh, you're quiet. I have some things to say to you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, finally.
You're not distracted.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. What I was picking up when you were sharing that is that's what they talk about as when they say you get the emotion out of you. You get those thoughts out of you and they get placed onto the paper so that you no longer have to carry them. You've documented these feelings. So one, you have a reference later also. And so it also kind of shows that you're not ready to look back and reflect on that time either. If you're not drawn to go back and read through some of these things, then you're not ready to process that on a different level. Because this is a lot of what healing is you heal, you rest, you grow, you expand, you heal again. And sometimes you keep healing the same thing, but every time you approach it, there's a little less, and there's a little less, and there's a little less, until eventually you don't feel or resonate, but you're like, oh, I remember that. Wow, look how far I've come.
Yeah.
So journals over the years and months can help you identify how much you've grown. And you can tap back into the old versions of you and even offer them some compassion. I'm like, wow, that was so hard. And look where I'm at now and how much better off I am. Or wow, look at this. I keep repeating this. I was doing this in my early 20s and look, I'm in my late 30s and holy crap, there it still is. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah. Ooh, can I share a story on that?
No, I'm sorry. We don't do stories here.
Ugh.
I'm just sorry. Sarcasm.
Okay,
Bleh.
gosh.
Just kidding. Okay, please share your story.
Yeah. Quick thing before I share the story. Just on the power of going back and seeing the growth and the changes and the awareness that has come about your life through journaling. Like that is such a powerful thing to witness. And this past week, as I've been building and really finally feeling deeply committed to the journey of creating videos on my own personal YouTube channel, which is really it's a joint collaborative process with spirit, because a lot of what comes through me, I feel like, is very channeled, which interestingly for the content that I'm creating, it is kind of a journaling exercise for writing the voiceover scripts. But as I've been committing to this path, I've been really wanting to set intention every single day to connect deeply with spirit and to ask for guidance and for resource and be like, okay, what am I meant to focus on? How can I share messages that will resonate with the collective that needs to hear it, for whoever finds these videos? And one of the ways that I've been connecting has been through pulling oracle cards before I go to sleep at night. That's just one of the ways that I have learned to connect. And Nikki and I will be talking about tarot and oracle
later in
a future, in a future episode soon. And as I've been growing this communication with spirit through the decks, one of the things that I pulled was, it was like the winter season card. It was like the winter spirit or something in this particular deck. And I was kind of confused because the season of life that I'm in right now, even though it is still technically winter, I've gotten a lot of other messages saying this is like, we're going into spring. This is action time. This is commitment time. This is laying the foundation, putting in the discipline and the work. I don't love the word discipline, but putting in the work. And so this winter spirit card came out and I'm like, I'm sorry. this feels counterintuitive to what I'm doing. Why are you telling me to rest and reflect? And the following day, I saw on YouTube, there's a tarot reader that I follow. And I was just kind of tuning into one of her messages, and I'm like, I don't know if this is really for me. And then she mentions something about going back and looking at a journal to reflect on how far you've come and to see that journey and that growth. So that way you can move forward with more intentionality and like groundedness and confidence, knowing that it's for you. And I was like, okay, so I just got told last night to reflect. And I just kept hearing that word, reflect, reflect, reflect. I'm like, what do you mean? What do I use to reflect? And so I watched this little part of the reader's message, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read my online document that was just a ton of stream of consciousness journal writing over the last 5 years, because the first entry is from 2020. I started writing in college right before the pandemic hit, which is really hilarious. I think literally my first entry was like, I really would like to spend more time outside. I want to be out more. I want to be doing things. I want to meet more people. And then literally next month's entry is like, I am forced to stay inside. Like, what the hell is this? Anywho, so I decided, thanks to this beautiful guidance externally in my environment and also coming through my channel, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read like the last 2 or 3 years worth of entries. I'm going to flip through because I hadn't really gone back and read them, especially over the last year. I hadn't read any of it. And I found that repeating pattern of how I was just constantly writing about how I wanted to make a YouTube channel and how I wanted to dedicate more time to music making and to creating. And God, wouldn't it be lovely if I built a life of just creative fulfillment, and I would just love to have more deep conversations. Like, how can I get paid for all of this? And then slowly I was building more and more the ideas for like my YouTube channel and like this very podcast. And I'm like, what the hell? This is crazy. Like, it literally made me break down in tears to see that this has been a recurring dream and idea. And it wasn't even just in the last 2 to 3 years, like in other journals that I've written, and I know stuff that I've written by hand as a kid, I'm basically saying the same thing. And so just being able to see and feel the seeds that have been planted and being able to get to go back to them and to see the growth and the change, to be able to reflect on the journey and the paths that your life has taken and that your spirit has experienced. It really is such a beautiful and grounding and affirming thing. At least it was for me in this particular case. Because it's so hard to look at any of that and be like, wow, you know what? I haven't really, like, well, this sucks. Like, I haven't changed that much. You know, I'm sure there are situations.
You could look
like
at it that way.
You could.
That's a program.
It is. But anywho, that's my story. It was a very lovely synchronistic experience in this past week. And then I remembered the next day after I had this, and I was really feeling all of the gratitude and the understanding of why Spirit was leading me to reflect. I feel like I have been getting this message for a while. It's like, see the fruits of your labor, see the seeds that, and feel the seeds that have been planted for a long time, and to realize that you are now in the birthing season of these things that you've wanted, that your soul has wanted for such a long time. And it's really beautiful to witness.
I completely agree. And that beautifully encompasses one of the gifts that come from this activity. I've kept all of my journals. And every once in a while, and then mind you, from teenage till 45 now, I've been writing consistently. Not as consistently as I would have wanted. So like I will be dry for like months. Like
It
I won't
happens. It goes in phases.
because there's resistance because like I don't want to look. I don't want to look. I'm going to distract and then I get to this point where everything's just exploding. I'm like I have to write. And like it's like otherwise I'm going to explode.
Yeah.
And I need to process this. Like it comes to that head. So I can appreciate like going back and then delighting. It's like a nice nostalgic thing because I don't always remember a lot of things. My mind is interesting. It what it chooses to remember from my upbringing in life and what it doesn't want to. So for someone who doesn't remember everything, it's really nice to have a written record of how I was feeling, where I was, what I was going through. Because it's just a nice opportunity to reconnect with yourself. And what I love in particular about what experience you just shared was really remarkable because you're practicing when you're being connected to spirit and how they deliver messages to you personally. Right? Because that's part of what you've been working on these last 3-4 years anyway, is really learning how to listen to the signs and synchronicities that spirit offers us to help guide us on our journey. And so how they will work through a multitude of avenues of people to give you that message. And so when things keep repeating, you keep pulling this oracle card and then you hear this person on YouTube talking about it and then you hear your friend talking about needing to do this. You're like, oh, okay,
and then your
message
next
received.
week's podcast topic is literally about journaling and reflecting.
Right. So it's all for you. And you were listening to the guidance and being like, okay, I will go do that then, I guess.
Yeah, that's totally how it
and
was.
then as you started to do it and you were starting to read, then it was almost like you were then listening to yourself. And your past self was talking to your present self, being like, wouldn't it be great if we could do this? And then you get to be like, yeah, it would. That would be great. And look at, I'm actually taking steps towards that.
Yeah, which is even extra fulfilling now because there were a lot of journal entries that were talking about the resistance to doing those very things. Like I thought I was going to start the YouTube channel like 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, I should just do it. And I would like write down all these like, oh, I'm going to be on this schedule and this and yada, 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 yada. But then the next entry would be, I don't know why I haven't done this. This sucks. Like, I'm not good enough. Why am I not pushing past the resistances? And there's a lot of judgment and a lot of just stuff that got aired. But reading back, it's like, I can see that perhaps that then wasn't the time. Like, there's so much confirmation in so many ways that can come
because
out of this.
all that stuff that you were writing about was what was in the way.
Yeah.
And then over the course of your process and you living your life, you've honored that and you helped clear it out of the way by acknowledging it.
Yeah.
So acknowledgement of the thing is really helpful. The thing that you're pushing up against, like, why can't I get through this thing? And so sometimes you just have to relax into it and just allow yourself to shift through it.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, like you're your own teacher and you're talking to yourself like, look at this pattern. Isn't that interesting? That's what I loved about the Artist Way with the morning pages. It was very specific where it said, do not read your morning pages.
Yep.
You had to go 8 weeks with just free flow consciousness, no censoring, no stopping. Let it go. Let your mind, your ego, whatever, have its space to be grumpy, to be angry, to have its feelings, because you feel so much better when you're done. But then after a time that you've been working and growing and reflecting in other ways, then you're allowed to go back and read it. And she says, look, take stock of like the things that you've written about. What's important to you? What are you grappling with? What do you keep looking at?
Yeah.
To
what are
give
the
you
repeating
some
patterns?
insight so that you have some things to work with or work on. So it's an amazingly helpful reflection tool. and a way to get to know yourself,
Yeah.
and a way to process or just get the icky feelings out that have nowhere to go because your environment doesn't welcome those types of things, because most of the world is emotionally immature. And if you're trying to grow and heal, you'll find that community, but you can do it on your own. And this is a great tool for that, just to get to know what's bothering you. Because sometimes, honestly, you don't know. I don't know what's bothering me, but I feel bad.
Yeah.
And that's why you go to the journal. If you don't have a therapist or somebody that you can talk to yet, a good friend that can hold space and listen without judgment or try to change.
If you do, all of it is great.
It is. But having that journal is safe, and it's just for you to be you, to just get all that ick out.
Yeah.
So you don't have to hold it anymore. And you can get to look at it and go, what is that? How long have I felt that way? You know?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with it? There's so many amazing benefits.
Yeah, it really feels like journaling and creating that safe, private, sacred space for ourselves. It creates a really beautiful practice of self-compassion. I think it really is one of the best tools for building just that self-compassion and empathy. Because I've noticed in my stream of consciousness document, and even going back and looking at the journals that I wrote as a teenager, and the words and the energy and the heaviness that's within them, over the years as I've journaled more and I've gathered more resources from other places and learned how to ask myself questions instead of imposing immediate judgment, and becoming curious for all the different parts of me and all the different fragments and pieces that want to express themselves, I've noticed how my writing has become much more compassionate and much more empathetic towards the self, and wants to create a loving, warm environment that is safe. Because you really can say anything and everything that you want, but that's kind of dependent on what programs are running at the time. Because before, I used to journal kind of almost as a way to, like, my inner manager, like my inner mom would come out and be like, God, why can't I just do this, 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 and this? And like expressing all of the anger that I had towards myself for not rising up to things in all these different aspects of my life. And I was a very, very self-hating and judgmental teenager. But looking at how my writing is now, and I think through just the process of returning to the page when I need it, and holding that intention and that practice of, I can write anything that I want on here, whatever part of me wants and needs to be expressed, this is the place for it. And just holding that intention and holding that space and coming to the page with the intention to release and allow, I think it naturally increases and grows our self-compassion in a really, really beautiful way. Like, journaling has been one of the most powerful tools for me to learn how to hold space for myself and to allow any emotion to be released, to be held, to be seen, held in a nurturing way, not holding on to it, but for the sake of release. There's so much more space that gets freed up within me after journaling too, which is making so much more room for new beautiful memories or new emotions to come in, more light and love to be felt, because we're not holding on to the heaviness. We're not holding on to this rage. And if you're holding on to rage and anger that's been going on for 13 years and it never gets expressed, how are you going to have room for
joy
or for any other emotion? It's like the act of journaling is like the start of a new cycle every single time. of just opening up more space, connecting deeper with self-compassion and self-love. And you just get to practice it again and again and again and again. And there's so much that opens up through it. Okay, I'll stop talking.
No, that was lovely. That was lovely. Well said. And that really resonates with me. And that is absolutely a possibility of what is offered as a gift through this practice. And what comes to mind as you were speaking about this, and I think where a lot of people can get stuck, is they're afraid that everything that they write about is negative. Well, it's just perpetuating it. But if you set the intention to not keep the cycle going, but have it flow out to release it, it's kind of like when you make stock, like chicken and vegetable stock, and you're boiling the roasted bones and the vegetables. And oftentimes you have to skim off the scum. Right? You have to get all of those impurities boiled and agitated with all the bubbles and movement and heat and excitedness of all the molecules running around and being extracted. Like, this is the process. Journaling can be this, where it's like, okay, let me bring in some energy, some insight, some awareness. There was a lot of scum on that entry. That's great, because you don't want that. But once it's done and it's been simmering, and then you remove all of the particulates and all of the old stuff, and you strain it, at the end of it, you have a nice, clear, delicious, nutritious broth. So you have clarity. You've extracted all of the lessons, all of the insights, all of that good, unctuous juice of life. And you discard the things that no longer serve you, that have served until they were done. The mush, the carrots, the onions, the celery, everything has been extracted, and we don't need to keep that any longer. So we release it. Thank you for being of service. And now I have this delicious base foundation for exactly what I want to make and create.
I absolutely adore the language and the energy that gets transmitted through you when you discuss food.
I do love food.
You get so poetic and in tune with it. And I'm like, yes, unctuous.
Unctuous.
Didn't even know that word, but it amazed me. Beautiful, beautiful analogy.
Thank you.
Very poignant.
It's fun for me. That's how my third eye, my vision center works. Is I listen and I hold space, and images just sort of flood through my mind and through my senses. And it just kind of shows me energetically what you're talking about. And that's what I saw you talking about, is that refinement, that extraction, the looking at it, and then how it changed from judgment to compassion over time. And this is why it's a good, consistent tool to use, because you don't know what you're going to get at the end of it, but you will get to know who you are and what's important to you, what you value, what it is that you would like to accomplish or do or show up as or give. I think it's an amazing, very powerful tool.
Definitely. And there are still journal entries where my mind is filled with judgment.
Oh, for sure.
But to know that I can use the journaling, and that I have used the journaling to air those things out. And once they are released, I do genuinely feel better. Like, the judgment program, it benefits from knowing that it has a place to go when it arises.
Yeah. It's comforting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, journaling's great.
It's really great.
It's such
Cannot
a
recommend
wonderful
enough.
Journaling and meditation, I would say, are two of the
necessities.
Yes.
If for personal transformation, yes, you need both. They work very well. They're like best friends.
They're best friends.
They are. Hey everyone, it's Nikki here. I really hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Listen, Maggie and I just wanted to take a quick moment and express how grateful we are for all of you who choose to spend your time, your very, very valuable time with us each episode, and for all of the engagement from liking and commenting, sharing and subscribing. All of this really helps support this soul-fulfilling project of ours. Not only does all of your engagement help spread the conversations of light and healing to people, but it also reminds us and lets us know that what we're creating is resonating with you, and that somehow we're being of service, which is a wonderful gift. Also, quickly wanted to share that if you do feel called to further support our podcast in a more personal way, we would love to have you over at our Patreon community. You can become a member there, and there are several monthly donation tiers that you can pick from, which gives you access to exclusive content like my monthly guided meditations. Or there's also the free community as well. Just be part of our world. Thank you. What a wonderful monumental help all of this is for our little 2-person DIY production. And a big, big thank you to all of our existing and our future patrons. Your support means the world. So if you'd like to join our community, you can find the link in all of our description boxes and home pages, wherever you're listening from. Or you can go directly to patreon.com/NTHP podcast, all in lowercase. All right, thank you. Now back to the episode.
So we discussed before recording this episode about creating the space to practice that throat chakra activation and that release through reading a section of our journals. So does this feel like an appropriate time to...
It actually does, because I was feeling into it. I'm like, is it now the time? I'm going to wait for Maggie. And
there
then
you go.
And then that happens a lot where it's like, I'll get it. And then it's like, and then you bring it. I'm like, great. We're on the same page.
Wonderful.
So for a little bit of history, I have no problem sharing my journal because that was the practice from the very beginning. And what I loved, one of the gifts that journaling gave me early on and was inspired by Polly was this very little story, but this poetic expression of what I was looking at. Mm-hmm. And so I learned to share with people, but I also learned that I'm a decent writer and communicator of my feelings and what I'm going through.
I would certainly agree to that statement.
So one of my practices when I first moved out here, it was actually a little bit more than a year later, when I was ready to make connections with other people, I decided, because I was invited to read my journal, because I was reading to my friend Adam at the time, and he was just sitting back and said to me, wow, you should read that to other people. You should come to Expression Mondays and read that. I'm like, okay. So I was in the practice of doing things that scared me, because I knew that whatever scared me, there was fear, and I'm stronger than that feeling, and I can do it anyway. So that was a practice of courage and vulnerability. Mm-hmm. Woo! So I've been practicing this for a while.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But when I was thinking into it, when we were planning this, I didn't have one in mind, because I read a lot of my old journals, like I said, at Expression Mondays, but I wasn't drawn to share the older version of me, the younger version of me. You know what I mean? So I was just sort of flipping through my current journal that I'm playing in, and one did jump out, and so that is what I feel like reading.
Okay, great.
Yeah?
I'm so excited to hear it and hold space for it.
So I skimmed through it, but I did ask Spirit, I'm like, is this appropriate? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, cool. I will trust. And I asked specifically the spirit of my cousin who was passed, who was basically the reason why I wrote this particular entry. And he was like, fuck yeah, go. So I'm like, great, thank you. So here's this. This is from Saturday, April 6th, 2024. This journaling session began with a thought as I was hanging laundry to dry. I miss my cousin Corey. Those thoughts pop up with certain music or foods. I selected the hipster cocktail party radio on Pandora for the first time in a while. He and Alyssa turned Josh and I on to it on their first visit to LA to see us. His death is deeply significant to me, more than I'm sure I realize at this time. It kick-started a culmination of endings and hardships, the collapsing of my world as I knew it. I have the thoughts, but there is resistance to writing it. Interesting. It's hard to look at, admittedly. Slowly, over the course of several years following his death, everything fell away, and it's like I have to start over from scratch, from the beginning. Perhaps a new beginning, letting all that holds me back fall away so that I am free to be me. Detaching myself from that which has identified me has been a challenge. I conduct myself with as much grace as I am capable. I always open myself to grow and evolve during my time here, but there are so many distractions to keep me occupied. I am ready for the building phase. The last 4.5 years have been demolition and clearing out debris and rubble. I have a solid foundation to build upon. I've been in the planning and collecting of resources phase, fine-tuning the vision. I am ready to build and have it be seen. I am open to the guidance so I know where I am meant to be, to meet and connect with the people I need and need me. But I miss my cousin Corey. He was a great human, one of my favorite from this lifetime. He was a light and funny and sweet and charming, and everyone wanted to be around him. At least that was my perspective. There's a voice arguing with me right now that says that's not true. Whatever. I admired him. I was so blessed he loved me back. He was one of the few reasons I ever went back to Ohio. I didn't have any more reasons to go back till my mom moved back, and it's better for her there. I get stuck in these thoughts about Corey. I grieve missing the chance to see him be a father. I still mourn the loss of a life lived. He lived life, that's unquestionable. But from my perspective, it was cut short. That's happened to too many of my cousins, and it hurts. I feel like I really missed out. Yes, I am making his death about me. Thank you very much. I miss his love and his hugs. I miss feeding him and playing games. I miss hearing him tell stories about our own past. I don't like how his passing and my subsequent trips back home to console and mourn with family ended with the disillusion of my relationship with my father. Oh, I miss my favorite cousin. There. Are you happy, Corey? I admitted it. You called it. You were my favorite because you loved me back the way I like it. It doesn't feel fair, though. I still don't understand why it had to be this way. No one is better off now without him. I lost someone who knew how to love me. That's been rare for me, and I'm pissed about it. It can feel like punishment. The world shut down months after he passed, and it's never been the same since. Nothing will ever be the same again. I guess that's just how life goes. I will continue to live and do my best. I miss him, even when he's with me. The last time I saw him means more than I can convey. He was on a last-minute business trip, staying near Santa Clarita, and came with others from his company, and he let me know when he had the dates and said it wouldn't be a long visit, but wanted to come have dinner with us. He communicated as the training itinerary came out, and he realized that he wouldn't be able to make it work once it got started, so it had to be the night that he got in. I was delighted enough that he wanted to come and made plans for it. I knew it was a long day, and we had talked about it, letting him know he doesn't have to push himself, and he insisted on coming over, even if just for an hour. He needed to see us. We were too close to not to. We had in and out. We talked for hours. He stayed too long, but it was his choice and was happy to do so. We were all so happy to be in each other's company. We talked about future visits. He was also always trying to get me to come home for a visit, and I said I would. I felt so loved by him that night. We all did. Corey was a gift, and I miss him terribly. This was a big loss for me, one of the biggest, top 3. I hope one day I'll stop crying, mourning an unlived future, mine without him. Thank you, Corey, for watching over us on the other side. I love you and I miss you, and please send money.
Okay. That is a hilarious ending. Oh my God.
Oh.
I miss you. I love you. Please send me money.
Hey, you gotta get it where you can,
That's
man. You
true.
don't want to, he's working magic on the other side and
That's
supporting
true.
us.
Yeah. I really, really loved just closing my eyes and hearing your voice of you reading those words. And that's the thing about journaling is no matter what you're talking about, it's really the space for every single part of you, even parts that are in conflict with each other.
Oh, yes.
To all be shared in the same space, to receive the same chance to be heard, to be seen, to be felt, to be released. Because there were so many parts of you that came up. The grieving part of you, the grateful part of you, the part of you that's judging yourself. It's hard for me to pull up the words and direct quotes, but when you want to stop yourself from saying this one thing, but there's a part of you that has been saying it repeatedly. It's beautiful. And that was really, really well written. And I resonate very deeply with that as I've faced some heavy losses in my family and family friends as well. So what a beautiful and powerful exercise.
Thank you.
Yeah. How does it feel to have shared that
Ooh,
verbally?
well, being vulnerable is always like a little gotta breathe. Don't forget to breathe.
Sure.
And then when I sometimes my eyes will read ahead because I have to speak it a little slower than what I'm reading, and then I'm like, oh, that's a nerve. That's a vulnerable, exposed nerve right there. But it's still empowering to express it, to be honest, to give a voice to the unheard aspects of yourself that just want to say it, even if it's the wrong thing, even if it's not the complete truth, because there's still something there that needs to get some space.
Right.
And then you don't have to carry it anymore. You don't have to keep that. The thought won't present itself as often. And then, or else it becomes something that you like, I had this thought, look at this truth that I just said. And then you can share it with some safe people. And then it gets more exposure and it gets more light and air and it will heal. Yeah. So yeah, but that was, I'm okay with it, especially because it's just me and you in this room right now. But there is always that fear of like, oh no, I'm not allowed to say that. I can't speak my truth. What if somebody hears that and then they get offended and then they're mad at me?
Right.
But that's why Spirit for years has been like, you are not responsible for how other people take your truth. Mentors have told me that. My therapist has told me that. My friends have told me that. Books have told me that. Like, I keep getting this message. And so this practice of writing it and then also sometimes getting to speak it is really healing for the parts of me that say you're not allowed. It's like, yeah, watch me.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed. No, I am absolutely allowed to speak my truth. And if it hurts somebody, that is not mine. Because I know that when I speak, my intention is to speak through my heart. But if I'm triggered or provoked into anger and that comes out, I'm sorry it came out twisted and sharp. But that's what happens when you provoke me and don't respect my boundaries. You're going to get stabbed a little bit with my words, and that's not my intention. That hurts me just as much as it hurts you sometimes. Like, I don't like that. I don't like speaking my truth through anger because it is shifted. It's not accurate.
Right.
Right.
And being able to journal that allows the anger to still be there without the potential consequences to it being projected onto somebody else.
Right. Or them not knowing how to deal or having the emotional maturity to hear.
To hold that space for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. For sure.
I have this love of reading my journal. I love reading. I just like reading in general, whether it's my words or somebody else's book. I'm like, let me just read to you. Can I just read? Can I just talk to you? I love speaking.
You have a very lovely speaking voice, in my humble opinion.
Oh, thank you.
And also, you're very well spoken and written. So I don't know, it's nice. I like the way that you frame things. And from other journal entries or poems or things that you've shared with me, you really do have this like inner poetic artist way of writing. The words that you use, the way that you phrase things, sentences that you write, the flow. And as much as you journal for your own processing, I feel like it is also an expression of your own inner artist, your own inner writer. It gets the space and the chance to express itself exactly how it wants to express. And I've also enjoyed that with some of my writing. Like sometimes if I'm feeling more philosophical, I want to get existential, and the way that I write is slightly different, and it's fun to tap into that different type of energy when it's available to me. Or just writing like you're romanticizing your own life. You know, there's so many different energies and moods that can tap in. But I really love the inner poet and writer that comes out of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I receive that. And that has been something that I have been growing to appreciate and value within myself. And I am always grateful for that external validation to be like, I'm so glad somebody else can see it and recognize it. And thank you so much. That really is really nice, because it helps build that self-confidence and that knowing, and again, of yourself. You know, so thank you for reflecting that back to me. But that is something that I do love. And that was inspired a lot by Polly, because she's also very poetic and taught me about listening to lyrics of music. I never even thought about that. Like, these are poems. Like, oh God, of course they're poems. Like, so I also like to use imagery, because it's like a poem. The writer is writing about something. They're processing something. They're expressing something. But what I love about poetry, just like art, is that whoever receives those words, that image, that painting, has a different connection to it. They see something else, or it resonates, or it provokes an emotion within them. And it's such a gift to see what other people receive from it, what they take the meaning to be, or how they connect with it.
Yeah.
So I don't really like I told you, like storytelling. There is a little bit, but it's more about look at the whole thing, or look at this, or look at this piece from this angle, or I don't know. Like, it's just, yeah, I like painting pictures with words.
And it shows.
Thank you.
And I love it.
Thank you.
And very much respect it and appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, now I would love to listen and hold space for anything that you feel like sharing.
Okay. Yeah, let me...
You are also a great writer. I've enjoyed listening to your process and the things that you share and observe and how you communicate that. I really have enjoyed whatever you allow yourself to share with me.
Oh, thank you. I feel like you've reflected that to me a number of times, and I never would have called myself a good writer before, even though, like, I know it's really hilarious. My mom's an English teacher. I was always in like AP English classes, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. No, you've gassed me up at my writing ability, so I do feel more confident in it now, which is very nice. But yeah, I'm gonna brush through my stream of consciousness document and see if there's anything that pops out at me.
I do like how you have paper journals, and then you have one that you even keep in your phone for like when you're on the move.
It's just a Google Doc.
Right?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like typing because it's faster than handwriting. And if my brain is going really fast, it's hard to handwrite. So I think just having the availability and the ease of a typed document is,
That makes sense, because
yeah.
sometimes you just need to go with what is there, and then sometimes the journaling, especially if you're handwriting, can help you to slow down and feel your feelings or think your thoughts and then write them down in a way that's understandable to you. So it just sort of depends on the energy that you're in, what's happening emotionally. So yeah, use whatever is available and that you're drawn to.
Yeah.
So I like that
Agreed.
you're figuring out which journal
Yeah.
is going to suit your needs in
Depends
this
on the
moment.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on the moment. Quick thing that I want to share as I'm brushing through this. One of the things that I recognized as I was spending that evening reflecting and reading through this whole thing, one thing that really came through is how in 2020 to 2021, I had just graduated college with a film degree, and I had to move back in with my folks because of the pandemic. Pretty much every single journal entry from that time, because this is when I started this document, was talking about all of the resistances to becoming a professional freelance director of photography. I was like, why am I not just taking the steps? Why is this not happening? And I have so many where I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I'm going to like start an Instagram. I'm going to make my reel. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to start putting myself out there for all of these things. And it was a good like year's worth of journal entries about this. And looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, the resistance at the time I thought was because I just wasn't good enough. Like I wasn't doing what I needed to do and I was upset at myself. But now, because this has been documented and because I'm further along on my path, I can see that that was not actually the path that I was meant to take.
Yeah.
And so it reforms and puts a new perspective on the resistances that I was feeling. And it brings so much deep validation and comfort and just an extra layer of growth of like, oh my God, like that repeating pattern of I'm always blaming myself. Like it's always my fault, when perhaps like just to be able to see that now, that perhaps there's higher forces at work and deeper, more complex things at play. And it's not all just me. So that was just a beautiful synchronicity and
Love
thing
that.
that came out. Anywho, yeah, so this is actually one of the entries that I wrote questioning the path of becoming a director of photography. And it turned into kind of like an interesting, like poetic style, analogous symbol for what I was going through. But all right. May 17th, 2021 in Santa Clarita Valley, Monday at 1:31 p.m.
You are so specific.
I've also color coded
Oh my God.
for the different like places that I've lived and the phases of life that I'm in.
Surprise me. So
I am a triple earth sign. This is how I function. So I always have the date, the entry, the location, and the time.
Wow.
Anywho, so this was back in 2021. I am experiencing a specific repeating pattern of emotions and thoughts. I felt it last night as I started reading Meditation by Eknath Eswazin. I'm so sorry about the pronunciation. The familiar feelings and thoughts of unease around my life crept in. It was a similar moment to when I was on a psychedelic mushroom trip and realized I was experiencing the same feeling/thought pattern I had had no more than 30 minutes before. Life is just feeling and thought patterns on repeat all the time. They're just far enough apart with different ones in between that it feels like we're experiencing new situations moment by moment, but we're not. We're spinning in cycles, playing out old habits or situations based on the emotions that we felt throughout our life that have just so happened to cling to our memory the longest, and then we project them onto new situations. We keep ourselves trapped here. We keep ourselves trapped in the ego. This particular cycle that I am finally seeing on a grander scale is based around the confusion and fear that I have of going down the DP path. The more that I scratch the surface of the spiritual experience, the more that I learn and contemplate and question and listen to regarding the soul, the more disconnected I feel I become from the material experience. I feel disconnected from the need to make money, from working random grip jobs, from starting the process of marketing myself as a DP, from even identifying myself as a DP or anything related to film. It all feels excruciatingly egoic, pointless, a means to an end. And I can't fully tell if this is genuine disinterest in the field or a false disinterest created by the ego itself in order to protect me from the fear and doubts I have about following the DP path. I keep coming back to this point, to this cycle. I have repeated it several times over the past 9 months, I believe. Since I moved back home because of the pandemic, I have increasingly begun questioning my goals and values in life. The deeper I go, like I said, the more meaningless being a DP seems to me. Who could possibly care about lighting techniques, or different rigs, or camera sensors, or shitty product commercials, or absolutely meaningless feature films made primarily for money and other people's reliance on escapism? Okay.
I'm really going to try not to react. I'm really trying to keep in the delight.
I appreciate the live audience reaction.
Okay.
I question if becoming a DP is a selfish route to choose, because sometimes it feels like I'm using it solely as a means to fulfill my need for a creative outlet and my deep desire to become financially independent and stable through that creative outlet. I wonder, if I had picked up another creative medium when I was younger, like painting or writing or anything, would I still end up in the situation I'm in now? Is it inevitable to have doubts and strong feelings of disconnect from the very thing you thought you always wanted to pursue? I asked this question, but I know that the answer is probably yes. Maybe my rose-colored glasses are slipping down my nose now, revealing my eyes to the truth. That my childhood belief and dream and desire of only ever working a career that I absolutely love and am deeply passionate about, and then living off that happily for the bulk of my life, may be just that, a dream. I realize that this dream is exactly what I'm fighting for right now. That's what this cycle is. I'm holding on for dear life to this idea that I can only follow what makes me happiest when it comes to building a career. And that is such a beautiful and honorable value to hold myself to, but I'm afraid it's what's causing this deep turmoil within me. Because I feel this disconnect and unhappiness towards the DP path, due to actually learning what that entails and looks like realistically and having the magic fade away, I feel as though I should drop it completely, that I'm clearly meant for something else then. But I don't know if I believe that, or that I should. When I think about this, I usually end up asking, well, what else would I do for a career? I can't read books, listen to spiritual videos on the internet, and then ponder my existence every day in my room and somehow make an income off that. At least not how I'm doing it now, which is privately. Dude, the fucking seeds. I could possibly turn it into some kind of social media platform, though, or blog, where I publicly ponder and share what I'm learning with the world. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
But at what point will my desire and love for that eventually run out? Because it will. Poor pessimistic Maggie. Passion for something is not and cannot be constant, at least I don't think. Inevitably, there will be other emotions that arise and temporarily fill my time and focus. Negative ones at that, ones that make me question what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what the point is, what any of this means. I feel as though what I am experiencing here is a very new generational problem, of which I am beginning to see many others my age facing as well. The problem of needing to find a deeply fulfilling career within a deeply unfulfilling societal system. At least here in the United States anyway. All of my experience is probably only happening because I'm here. Leading a spiritual life in balance with the material world. I use so many semicolons. I'm sorry if this is hard to follow. This likely isn't a new human issue, looking back at it, but it's just taken a completely new and uncharted form within the last century of rapid technological and industrial advancements. Capitalism didn't exist the way it did 100 years ago. Of course, every generation has specific issues and human dilemmas they face, maybe all of which are directly linked to the human predicament, lacking purpose here on Earth. I often feel guilty, an impending sense of doom, that I am not actively working towards building myself a stable future. I've been going through life day by day, sometimes distracting myself, other times going deeper and shining light in different areas of myself, but primarily biding time, waiting for life to happen to me in order to make any decisions or set any goals. This topic, this career area of my life, feels like it has been hiding away in the shadows for a while. Occasionally, I'll shine a beam of light onto it, often by accident if I'm honest, and it will shrivel up and scurry into a dark corner as fast as it can. That's what this thing feels like in my body, a scared little creature in a dark cave, and my heart is simultaneously holding the light for this little guy, but also holding the fear and shame it feels from hiding from the outside world. Why is he hiding? What is he afraid of? What doesn't he want to face? He is overrun with guilt. The owners of the cave have provided a very warm and safe environment for this little creature, but they always imagined that one day the creature would be able to venture out and find his own cave. The creature knows this and is deeply grateful for the incredible life he has been bestowed by the owners of the cave, but with this he feels beholden. Beholden to pay them back in some way, or at the very least fulfill the one wish they have spoken since his arrival. His gratitude for them is so big that if he fails in paying back the owners, he will forever be filled with resentment towards himself, just as he believes the owners will be too. He is bombarded by fear. He keeps having thoughts of other creatures out in the world harshly judging, criticizing, and making fun of him for the way he expresses himself, or for his lack of knowledge of the world. What if he isn't accepted? What if he isn't good enough? What if nobody wants to be around him? He knows there is no true guarantee that he will be able to just survive out in the world, and there's especially no guarantee that he'll be able to thrive the way he's imagined he would his whole life. Everything he's ever hoped for could simply fall through the cracks, and he knows this. He is paralyzed by doubt. He knows very few creatures that leave their cave actually make it out in the world. There's only room for so many, he tells himself. And they keep piling out there, more and more, every single day. What makes him think there's space for him, too? What makes him think he even has the skills? He's been so good at thriving within his cave. Why does he need to go thrive in the outside world? He's clearly going to crash and burn out there, so why not just skip that step and stay here, where it's safe, where it's warm, where it's comfortable, where it's familiar? Plus, he loses interest in the outside world at least once a day anyway. Does he even care about the outside world to begin with if he's doubting it? No other creature seems to be doubting themselves or their love of the outside. All of these terribly strong emotions manifest themselves as anxiety and deep shame. The little creature does not know how to cope other than to scurry to a deeper, darker corner of the cave whenever he thinks about the outside world. He also often forgets, ironically, that he has been to the outside world many, many times. He knows pretty well what it looks like, what it consists of, what it has felt like in different situations, and his enjoyment of the outside often outweighs any of these strong emotions of lack, at least temporarily, until he's back in the cave for a while with no made plans to go back out. So then why the resistance? Why doesn't he take any small step towards getting more comfortable in the outside world? Why doesn't he practice and hone his skills inside the cave first? It seems simple to an outsider, but the little creature isn't an outsider yet, or so he thinks. His thoughts and feelings of overrun guilt, of bombarding fear, or paralyzing doubt keep cycling on repeat. They rule the creature's mind and therefore his life. Is there a way to lessen their ruling? To make these things weaker? To make them more quiet? To heal their origins and dissolve their existence completely? Is that way only through forced actions? Or is it through mindfulness and shining light on the wounds? The creature knows it's a mix of both, as everything in this life always tends to be about balance. Of course, this little creature is a part of me. It is a symbol of the obstacles I have been feeling around my career, and I don't fully know what I want in this life yet. And that's okay. I'll figure it out. Me and the little creature, and my spirit guides, and my inner child, and my ego will all figure it out together.
That was so great.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing.
God, thanks for listening. That felt really long. It was very long. Thanks for sticking in there.
It was only 10 minutes, but I'm pretty sure mine was at least that, if not more.
I thought yours was much less.
No, it's just when you're in the hot seat, it feels like it's longer.
That's fair.
But I like hearing this part of you from before I knew you.
Uh-huh.
Because I can see all those seeds that you were planting and these concepts that you were grappling with or looking at and processing. And I just was sitting here thinking, I am so glad you found me. Because I get it. And
It was so divinely fucking guided, dude.
it really was.
Like
And
you
were
should read
ready.
the rest of those
You
journal
were ready
entries.
for it.
Yeah.
You were ready for the work that you were asking for.
Yeah.
And I was ready to have someone like you that
Mm-hmm.
I can support and listen to and guide.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thanks.
I really dig you. I think you're a really rad human being and soul.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect at you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
You definitely have a way with words. And I love that as an example of a journal entry because
it was a lot of things.
It was a lot of things.
Like yours was. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it kind of just had this flow of like, this is what I'm looking at. This is how I'm feeling. But then what about this? And then you described this part of you so well that you gave it a voice. You gave it perspective and room to have all of these thoughts and feelings and doubts and fears and also joy of connecting. And then you get back and you're like, oh, wait, no, that was a mistake. You know, like all of just the process of being a human and having this experience and having different parts of you and holding space for those different parts. So that was really great. I love that as an example for a journal entry. That's
Cool.
really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, reading that out loud, which I had read it when I was going through my reflection the other day, but reading it out loud, and hearing the words externally, it's like we said in the beginning, like it's that extra layer of release. But with that specifically, that gave me an extra layer and energy wave of reflection and seeing how I was planting so many seeds then for everything that I'm doing right now. And it gives me so much motivation to be like, I'm going to keep going because I know that this is for me. Like for seeing how long I've talked about these things and seeing all the things that I've worked on with you specifically, like sharing my voice, learning to allow myself to be heard and to be seen, to making these YouTube videos that are like channeled written content. I can see how all of the writing that I've done in my stream of consciousness journal over the years has been honing my writing style. And I always thought it was just going to be for me because it's this private, sacred thing. But it just so happens that it has been morphing to an external and more public kind of thing with this podcast and with my YouTube channel. But it's just so many beautiful seeds were planted. There were so many things that were being honed in that time that I had no idea what we're going to manifest and grow. And I'm still have no fucking idea. Like really feels like I'm just at the beginning. But yeah, stream of consciousness journaling for me, like that document is very, very, very special to me. And I feel like if at the end of my life, someone found that and read through it, I feel like they would really see the light and just the pure energy core of my soul and my spirit, even when a lot of those entries are filled with like a whole bunch of mental shit, just the scum at the top of the broth that hasn't been scooped out yet. I don't know, like journaling just always helps me get back and centered in my heart and to give myself love and compassion and space and to connect to a spirit and to know that everything that I'm feeling and experience right now is temporal. It will pass. I am making space for new, more beautiful experiences to come in. And it's beautiful and wonderful. I love journaling. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a lovely episode for me.
And for me.
Excellent.
It's always a pleasure.
Always.
I'm always so delighted to see the unfolding of the ebb and flow of our conversations.
Yeah. I think this was so delightful. And one of my favorite tools. And I'm so glad that we get to share this with each other and then ultimately anybody else who listens. And I hope that you give yourself permission to write your truth, to express your emotions in a safe way. All of them, whether they're comfortable or not. And then also using it as a springboard to progress and to plant those seeds. It's multifaceted. It's like a huge garden. You're pulling weeds, you're tilling the soil, you're watering it, you're planting shit, you're watching it sprout after or years even.
Yeah.
Things are finally popping. It's such a great map, a history of your life, so that when you're old and you don't remember shit and you can go back and be like, oh, I remember that. Look at all this wisdom. And then you share it with people. It's so great. And I think it's a really great tool for humans in general to process life, to try to understand it, to see it, to look at it, to feel it, to acknowledge it. All of that stuff. Because it's not easy. Humaning is really hard, but there's so much joy and beauty to behold if we can just get out of our own way sometimes. And journaling can help you see yourself more clearly. It can help you see even what isn't yours. A repeating pattern or a thought or a belief that was given to you. And you're like, oh, I see that. I don't want that anymore. And this is what I'm going to do instead. And so you do a lot of work. This is a lot of work, but it feels good. And that's what I hear a lot is even if you don't want to do it, if you write, you're likely to feel better when you're done.
Just like meditation.
Just like that. Yeah.
The mind and the ego loves to resist it. And it's like, no, I'm not going to enjoy that. But it, for me, it always feels better.
Yeah. Thank you for practicing vulnerability.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you. It is definitely work for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, this was amazing. Happy writing, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Enjoy the process. It's
Enjoy.
uncomfortable, but it's also so much fun. Or there's just so much there to be offered. Just be open to your experiences. So thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Maggie, what are we talking about next week?
We are talking about creating time and space for play in life.
Such a good idea.
Yes. Tapping into our inner childs and our inner joy.
Indeed. And being creative and as a way, and again, because we're going to bring this into the theme of this season, is as a means of connecting to yourself.
Yes. Connecting deeper within.
Absolutely. And our inner children would love to be connected with and come out to play every so often. It is a beautiful. So I can't wait for next week now.
Same.
It's
Me
awesome.
too.
Blessings, everyone.
Have a good 2 weeks.